McClunky, everyone, and today we're going to talk a little about recapturing the magic of movies in the days before streaming, specifically Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. So, I'm a huge fan of the Phantom podcast, now known as Blank Check with Griffin and David. It's a podcast that covers directors and their filmographies and what happens when they have massive success early on in their careers and are given a blank check to pursue whatever passion projects they may have. And sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they bounce. Baby! That's my long and bit heavy way of saying the idea for this video came from a recent episode of the podcast where they had comic writer Brian Michael Bendis on to discuss Raiders of the Lost Ark. In the episode, Mr. Bendis discussed the important role comic books, soundtracks, and trading cards released around movies like Indiana Jones and Star Wars played in allowing you to experience these films until you could watch them again in theaters, or if you were a kid growing up in Canada, watch Raiders on CBC Saturday evenings.
In lieu of DVD and VHS, we have the soundtrack to just sit in our room, stare at the ceiling, and relive the movie in our mind's eye with whatever trading cards we have. Like we're absorbing it and remembering it and recontextualizing it in ways that are just different than what happens today. No better or worse.
This observation unlocked a core memory for me. I grew up in the 90s, so we didn't have things like streaming or VOD. We couldn't rewatch our favorite scenes on YouTube. As a kid obsessed with nautical disasters, I can tell you I spent hours lying on my bed listening to the Titanic soundtrack. I would listen to James Horner's propulsive, anxiety-written score, imagining water rushing into the ship, masses of people running towards the stern. And of course, at the end, would sing along with Celine, with My Heart Will Go On. Large parts of my childhood were defined by this score, as well as John Williams' score for Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It was one of 3 soundtracks I owned. Third being, of course, Attack of the Clones. I would play Across the Stars on repeat, trying to imagine or conjure up such a gentle, passionate, explosive yearning for someone or something. A love that would be all-consuming. As much as I remember the hype around the movie, I can't tell you the first time I saw Attack of the Clones. I know it must have been in theaters, but I can't remember what I thought right after. I remember being excited because there was a kid on my school bus who told me Yoda got in a lightsaber duel and was jumping around like he was wearing Nikes. Well, I don't remember those initial impressions. I remember I loved it. And I wanted to relive or re-experience that Attack of the Clones feeling any way I could. Later in the episode, Bendis also discusses how trading cards acted as an encyclopedia of sorts for early fans of these movies. I remember my dad telling me when we were kids about the original Topps trading cards and how he, after 2 packs back-to-back, pulled a really rare C-3PO with a crate dragon skeleton. The front of the card would always have a scene from the movie and a little description, and the backside would always have some bit of trivia or knowledge about the film. Of course, both in English and French, because we're Canadian. By 2001, we had tie-in chapter books for kids, Attack of the Clones video games meant to fill in the parts of the story we didn't see. But for summer of 2001, my brother and I had a similar experience, and we collected the Attack of the Clones trading cards, recreating that magical Star Wars movie experience in the theater, trying to understand it a little bit better. And because I'm a nostalgia-obsessed millennial, I thought it would be fun to try and dig into that nostalgia and open a pack of cards with you. I ordered this pack of cards from Royal City Thrift on eBay and got the handsome young Obi-Wan Kenobi packaging. It feels both familiar and strange to have this foil packaging in my hand once more. Unfortunately, since the cards have been sealed for so long, they had started to stick together, but even then, it was such a strange feeling or strange walk down memory lane to see this outline or the way they've been positioned and the borders are. As I'd mentioned earlier, you do get, of course, the photo still of the scene from the movie and a little bit of a description, which, if you'd like, you can always pause and read just to kind of let you know what was happening in the moment. And if you look on the bottom right, you'll see the cards are also numbered with just the part in the movie or where it goes in terms of the card order. It allows you to reconstruct everything chronologically. In addition, there are cool holographic cards like this Zam Wessel card, which thankfully didn't stick to any of the others, but is a cool little addition or something extra for the collector. Again, it is a weird throwback or kind of a step back into that younger version of myself where we get to see, or we would rebuild this movie, or we were just obsessed with getting the entire base set, including the character cards like this Anakin Skywalker one that was in my package. I have continued to dip my toes into collecting cards. They don't hold that same magic or that same excitement. That could be because I'm older now and my relationship to movies or the way we're able to experience them so shortly after they're released has changed. It could be because I've turned into a grump in my old age. Who can tell? Either way, thank you for joining me on this walk through memory lane. Leave a comment below with your favorite card that you saw from this poll. And also, I should give an overdue thank you to my grandmother. She was the one who would take us to McPherson's and buy us these cards, so Nan, you're the real MVP. Also, you should listen to the episode of Blank Check because it is really good. And until next time, blank it.